Nintendo is known for its colorful, family-friendly franchises like Mario, Zelda, and Pokemon. Yep, family-friendly. It's Nintendo's calling card. Even when they venture into darker narratives like Majora's Mask or Luigi's Mansion, there is still a sense of whimsy or optimism. Hidden among these cheerful titles is a game that sits on the other side of the spectrum, a game defined by isolation, silence, and solitude. Today, we're going to dive deep into Metroid Prime 1 and ask, is it the loneliest game Nintendo has ever made? Metroid Prime was released in 2002 for the GameCube. It was a soft reimagining of the Metroid series, transitioning from the then typical 2D side-scroller to a 3D first-person action-adventure game. The Metroid series has always been in contrast to Nintendo's other flagship franchises. Even looking at the original Smash Bros. Cast, which was filled with Nintendo's most beloved characters, everyone here comes from a vibrant world with lighthearted, inviting environments. Okay. Almost everyone. But the Metroid universe is filled with environments where silence speaks volumes, and every lurking shadow hints at something ominous. Loneliness isn't just a theme in Metroid Prime, it's woven into the very fabric of its design. From the moment you land on Talon 4, you are utterly alone. There are no friendly NPCs, there is no dialogue, no guiding voice. It's just you, this angry, scary alien world, and the decaying echoes of a civilization long gone. As we said before Metroid Prime made the jump to 3D, all of the previous titles were 2D, and as we've learned in time, most 2D games just can't really hold the same emotional weight that a 3D game can. Being placed behind the visor, you are inherently more immersed than you would be otherwise. Catching glimpses of Samus's face as you look around, looking up to the rainy skies to see water droplets form on your visor, or hearing Samus cry out in pain when she takes damage. These are all features that the developers added to make you feel like it was really you in the suit. Samus Aran, the OG badass woman in gaming. She's the lone bounty hunter, roaming the star systems, fighting the space pirates, and eradicating Metroids. It's always been Samus versus the world, helped occasionally in part by the remnants of said long-dead members of the Chozo race. Well, outside of a small handful of hunters in Metroid Prime 3 and Metroid Prime Hunters. But, spoiler warning, none of the bounty hunters introduced in Prime 3 managed to survive the game, and the only bounty hunter that was ever mentioned again from Metroid Prime Hunters was Sylix. And if you played Metroid Prime 4, which hopefully you didn't, Nintendo spoke loud and clear and said, "Here's Sylix. He doesn't matter." So it's just Samus. Since the original Metroid, the atmosphere has always been one of haunting mystery and bitter antagonism. But the world of Talon 4 feels somehow even more exceptionally hostile and unwelcoming. The flora wants to kill you, the fauna wants to eat you, hell, even the environment wants to murder you. It really feels like everything on this planet is trying to bring you down. And all this time, while exploring the world, you get minimal direct guidance or interaction with pretty much anything. The absence of any dialogue or outright storytelling leaves you as the player to piece together the narrative through exploration and reading the scan logs. There's so much to be found, and most of it can be missed if you don't take your time to really explore this barren, forsaken world. Of course, Metroid Prime isn't the only Nintendo game to explore being alone. Flagship titles like The Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask, lesser known titles like Eternal Darkness,
Is it really happening?
or even the polarizing Star Fox Adventures delve into themes of isolation and dread. But in those games, the focus is on community, family, or a dialogue-heavy action-adventure with a cute little sidekick.
We need to find white grub tubs. My mom gives them to me when I'm not feeling well.
One of the more innovative mechanics in the Prime games is the scan visor. Retro Studios managed to make the main mechanic of how you interact with the creatures and the environments in general into a defining mechanic, seamlessly blending gameplay with storytelling. You primarily use it to gather information. You can scan objects, creatures, as well as environmental elements to uncover lore, analyze enemy weaknesses, or even to unlock pathways. By scanning ancient Chozo artifacts and pirate logs, you can start to piece together the history of the planet and the events leading to it being in its current state. This method of investigative storytelling allowed the developers to avoid traditional cutscenes from being the main way of telling the story, and instead allowing everything in the world to be slowly learned through real-time interaction. Or it can be mostly ignored altogether by the player. If someone wants the world to remain shrouded in mystery, then they are more than free to shoot now and ask questions later. This is one of the beauties of the storytelling design. Another tool for exploring the world comes in the form of your upgrades. They're more than just for combat. They are an extension of Samus's isolation and resourcefulness. The Wave, Ice, and Plasma Beam are all upgrades that she discovers and integrates into her suit. They aren't made for her, especially not the Phazon suit. She just finds something useful and uses it to help solve the issues in her environment. These weapons and suit augmentations aren't given to her for helping someone out, or solving any issue. They are found remnants of the Chozo civilization or hidden within the environment. The same goes for the grapple beam, power bombs, along with the thermal and X-ray visors. Navigating through dark corridors or fighting invisible enemies? Well, Samus has an upgrade for that too. Too much heat? Hey look, the Varia suit! Need to move underwater and you can't deal with the increased resistance of the water? Gravity suit inbound. You enter the endgame where the walls, ceilings, and floors are covered with Phazon, and merely touching it melts your health? Just beat the Omega Pirate and take the Phazon suit with it. Okay, yeah, this one is probably, no, definitely not Chozo approved, but I think they made an exception. It wouldn't be one of our videos without talking about the sound design. The ambient soundtracks are a prime example of how to use music and sound design to help make you feel the emotions, atmosphere, as well as enhance how the story is told. Without beating a dead horse too soundly, Nintendo's other franchises rely on vibrant melodies. Yep, vibrant. Whereas Metroid Prime leans heavily on ambient compositions to reinforce the feeling of empty isolation while exploring the ruins. From the first moments of the game, the soundtrack establishes itself. The opening theme on the surface of Talon 4 combines a haunting melody with ambient natural sounds, like rainfall and distant wildlife, creating a world that feels alive, yet completely indifferent to Samus's presence. It's as though the planet itself is watching, but is uninterested in helping. The Chozo Ruins, Phendrana Drifts, and Magmoor Caverns all have their own unique soundscape tailored to their respective environments and history. Even silence is an important tool to the soundtrack itself, often using moments of quiet to heighten tension and emphasize your solitude. Metroid Prime was released in a time when video games were increasingly adopting full voice acting and cinematic storytelling as the industry standard. Bigger titles like Metal Gear Solid 2, Final Fantasy X, and Halo
This is it, baby. Hold me.
had already set the expectations for fully voiced characters and elaborate cutscenes. Yet, Metroid Prime forged a different path, instead opting for you as the player to discover everything there is to know about this world through scanning logs and lore. The fall of the planet, the fate of the Chozo, the space pirates' experiments, as well as their doom, showing us the consequences of their hubris and isolation. It's all here for you to find. You just have to spend some time and find it. Despite the desolation, despite the overwhelming loneliness, the game is about discovery. You might be exploring the ruins of the possibly extinct race that saved your life, but there is a simple satisfaction in piecing together the world's mysteries. The loneliness isn't overly oppressive. It gives players time and space to think, explore, and immerse themselves into this world filled with such angry creatures. You get to ruin the space pirates' plan once again, and while doing so, you get to explore beautiful biospheres while enjoying some of Nintendo's most enjoyable music to date. And even if the game makes you feel alone, is that a flaw or a feature? Sure, you're alone, but the game thrives on making you feel small, yet empowered. Those upgrades take you from a meager power suit and power beam to a killing machine that can put the fear of God into anything you come across. Metroid Prime is a stark contrast to Nintendo's usual optimism and cheer, but it is also one of their more unique and emotionally resonant titles. Loneliness doesn't have to be a flaw, but can be used as a powerful narrative and atmospheric tool. Samus Aran's journey through Talon 4 is one of self-reliance, where every single discovery, new ability, and every piece of lore you uncover is a badge to wear. It's a deeply introspective game, allowing you as the player to become not just a passive observer like a lot of games have become, but an active participant in uncovering the mysteries of this world. So, is Metroid Prime the loneliest game Nintendo ever made? Absolutely! And that's precisely what makes it a masterpiece. It's what makes the game so unforgettable, so haunting, and so uniquely Nintendo. What do you think? Is there another Nintendo game that comes close to this level of lonely isolation? Let us know in the comments below. Drop us a like and subscribe to see similar videos to this in the future. And above all, thanks for watching.